Hi again, it's Beck from Stampin' with Beck, back for video number 2 for our second month of Stampin' Blends Club. This video is for the ladies in my Stampin' Blends Club who couldn't attend our class yesterday, but you may be watching even if you're not in the club just because I have loaded the video onto YouTube. You're welcome to watch and follow along as well. So Blends Club ladies, if you missed class yesterday, this is the second card that we made. And so you will receive all the bits and pieces in your pack in the mail from me so that you can follow along with this video and make your card at home. So for this card, we used the Varied Vases stamp set and the matching vase builder punch. And of course our blends that we have been collecting last month and this month. So there's the finished card. And so for this card, our focus was on blending and shading again to get kind of a rounded 3D look and putting on a little highlight with our color lifter marker. So that's what I'm going to be showing you in this video. We started out with our flowers stamped there and we just colored them in very simply. We didn't even worry about doing much shading in the flowers because it's such a small area. We focused on shading and blending and highlighting on our vases. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in again so you can see a little bit better. That's as far as I can zoom in. So working on this vase here, we used our Call Me Clover markers, light and dark. We started with the light one. And again, my basic colouring technique is usually to colour the whole thing with the light marker. Now, a few of the ladies did notice that sometimes it bled outside the lines. So what my advice is, if you have that trouble, is to try not to go right up to the line at first, just in case your marker is a little bit juicy and it's bleeding out a little bit. So if you stop just before the line, if it is bleeding, then it can bleed up to the line rather than through the line. So remember, we want to saturate the whole area. So go over it probably 3 times to get it nice and saturated. That way our blending can work a little bit better while it's still wet. If it's only had one layer, it's often a little bit dry and it's more difficult to get a smooth blended look. Okay, so there's our light Call Me Clover all over. Clover all over, that rhymes. Okay, now for this, I'm just going to do little flicks with the dark one from the left-hand side. So this is going to be my shadowy side. So it's as if the light is coming in from this direction. Therefore, the opposite side of the vase is going to be a little bit in shadow. And just little flicks like that. So it's not a harsh line, but it's still a bit harsh. So we'll come back with our light one. And using that same technique, starting at the edge, we're going to do little flicking motions. You could use your circular motion, but I find for this one, the flicking motions works best. So I'm starting at the outside and dragging it in. Dragging a little bit of that darker Call Me Clover in so that it can blend with the light one and just soften that edge a little bit. Now I'm just doing this quickly. You can spend more time on this if you want to get a more blended look. But when you bring that up, you can see that it's darker over here, blending out into the light, and it does smooth out as it dries as well. But to get a little bit more of an obvious 3D look, we're going to put a little highlight on here. And this looks great done on balloons and things like that as well, round shapes. So using our color lifter, I'm just going to use the bullet tip because it's thinner and I have more control. The brush tip is a little bit big for this small area that I want to do. I am just going to draw a little curved line. And then I'll wait for it to dry a little bit. I'll just go over it a couple of times. And you'll see it start to lighten up. I'll put a little dot there as well and I'll hit that dot a couple of times. Go over my little curved line, bring it up so you can see. So what this color lifter pen actually does, it does not lift the color. You can see there's no green on my tip. It actually pushes the colour through. See how it's darker here now? So coming up from underneath, it pushed the green ink through the paper so that it looks lighter on top, and it pushed it through the back. So it's really more of a colour pusher than a colour lifter. Okay, so you can do that on all 3 of your vases to get that 3D and highlighted look. So I'll zoom back out. So our colour lifter, what else can we use it for? If you accidentally go outside the lines, let me go outside the lines a little bit on purpose, but it often happens just by accident. Oh, went outside the lines. I probably went out a little bit too much, but anyway, let's see if this works. You can use your colour lifter to push that colour through the paper. I might have done too much for this to work very well. Push it through the paper and it will be less obvious on the top. So sometimes you can actually save your colouring if you've had a mistake and gone outside the lines. That will lighten as it dries. Zoom back out. So you can use it a little bit like an eraser if you go outside the lines. You can use it to lighten areas and add highlights. You might have flower petals where you've coloured in with 2 shades of pink, but you really think, oh, I need a 3rd lighter shade. You can gently go over some areas with the colour lifter and lighten it up. Less is more when you start with the colour lifter. Just do a little bit and let it dry, see how it looks. If you need to lighten it a bit more, you can go a bit more. But as I say, what it actually does is it pushes the colour through to the back of the paper, giving you a lighter effect on top of the paper. And here's our finished card. You'll also get some rhinestones in your pack, and we coloured our rhinestones with the Flirty Flamingo marker. We used the brush tip, but just be gentle when you're colouring with your rhinestones. Your brush tip is delicate. We don't want to mash it all over the rhinestones and rough it up and have splits in our tip. So just rub over very gently so that you don't damage the tip of your marker if you're colouring rough embellishments. Okay, so you'll receive your pack in the mail soon, or if you're popping around you can pick it up from me, and I'll be in touch with my blends ladies soon to organise our markers for the next class in 4 weeks' time. Thanks everyone, bye.